all day. So we had one idea about music, but we did not really extend it too much. But basically, the idea would be to start with one instrument, and then over time you could add more and more instruments, or you could increase the dynamic range of the music. Might be a bit tricky to program, but I'm sure there are ways out now to do this also algorithmically. Then, of course, we had, I take this one, that's more organized in my notes. Then we had a few ideas about building up something. So one would be like painting by numbers. So you have a picture with lots of black lines, and then suddenly, slowly the shapes fill in, and in the end you see a picture. Very slight variation of that would be to connect the dots. So you only have the dots, and then slowly the lines connecting dots, and again a picture emerges with time. And then similar idea to the first, but maybe easier to implement. Who knows this old game called Tangram, where you have a square which is cut into different shapes, like little triangles, and then you only see the outline of a figure you have to put together with these little shapes. I mean, I'm old, but I'm too old for that game actually. But you might have seen it because it's something the grandparents usually give the grandchild. Yes, exactly. So again, you could have colors and shapes and so on. A variation on the trees that you had would be to build up snowflakes. Again, you can have different shapes, different forms, and I'm pretty sure there will be algorithms out there which allow you to do that, and you can increase also the level of detail. Then storytelling, we didn't really come up with such a great idea, but one idea.
Yes, I was looking for a YouTube video, but where you have like time lapse, you could have like a painting or something where different pieces are filled in. So you have, it could be the shape, and then you've got the colors that are filled in after that. But you can have this painting that becomes more and more complex, and there's really a limit to the number of things that you could add. But it might be like a landscape, it could be a cityscape, it could be a variety of things. I mean, it's kind of a play off of the idea of like the caterpillar or something, where you see this evolution that takes place. So that's something that tells a story.
Then we got a bit more three-dimensional. So a game which is a bit for the younger audience, the Lego computer games. Who knows them? So usually you have to collect power packs in one of the things, and then at the end of the episode, the more power packs you have, basically you put together a Lego model. So it's only 10 power packs. So the Lego models are relatively simple, but complex enough to show you a ship or to show you a spaceship and so on. So that would be something where you slowly build up one of these models. And of course, with time, the complexity increases. So that's interesting as well. Yeah, and then the last one, which would maybe be more an idea for when you have the faster method and the slower method together, that you could show a flock of birds flying around the screen, and the slower method would be coupled with the number of birds, so the slower episodes increase the number, and then the coordination of the flight of the flock would be the faster measure. So if the faster measure shows you more coherence in your brain, then you would have a more coherent flight path of the birds.
I had an algorithm for flocks.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
it's not too hard. You have to have like minimum 7. I can do that.
Yeah. So of course, with this you can go from 7 to 100 or so. You can add more birds because 1 or 2 you might not see much. Yeah. And that was it.
You mentioned the trees, so there's like this L systems where you can create trees very nicely. And maybe I can show the website here again. It's like here, and he has some progression here. And so you could basically create random ones, and you can also render them later on. And this would be like I think this is fairly simple to create. And there was one script, so you can see how it builds up. So it would basically go over several iterations and slowly create the whole thing, and you could, like, whenever there's a state or event happening, it would draw the next level, basically, something like that. Yeah.
I really like that. It maintains the kind of complexity, but you can see, I mean, that allows me to have something that iterates over the entire run.
And it
versus
can
something
still be pre-computed
Yes.
randomly, and you just flop over to the next image, basically.
And they can all be unique images if it's fractal based.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Okay.
Nice.
There's a lot of
Round of
really
applause.
cool ideas.
Any questions for him?
Well, I think, I mean, there's a way of framing it that I never really thought about, but at the end of the day, what everybody's talking about is finding a way to start from nothing and to slowly build complexity. And really framing it in that way is a nice way to sort of really sort of mentally find things that are going to work and the ones that aren't. I'm saying,
I suppose there were only two that were stories of some sort. You were talking about a story, Mary, was it? Wendy, sorry. Had a Y and the M and W were just upside down. But then the frog with the tongue was a story of a sort. Yeah.
It was a story of certainty. Yeah, a frog putting out his tongue and getting an insect.
Yep.
I like that. I can work with that.
That was cool.